If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member today. Members get early access to videos, access to all the stream VODs, and exclusive access to emotes as well. So if you'd like to support the channel, become a member today. We do have this video from Brett Cooper, which I think might be a little bit interesting. It's called Would You Rather Be Skinny or Fat? And it's her review of the Jubilee that Lauren went on. Lauren has come on the channel before and debated me about Nick Fuentes and other issues. And I have no idea what Brett Cooper is going to say. So I thought maybe that would be interesting to look at.
Welcome back to the comments section. I'm Brett Cooper. I'm excited. I have not done a reaction video in a while, but Jubilee put out a new one last month, so I am stoked to respond to it. I think we all know that the body positivity movement has absolutely gotten out of hand, and now it is completely conflicting with science. In fact, it is convincing doctors to change their tune about being obese and the obesity crisis, and so we have a video that touches on that today. Before we get into
Source, bro? That's one of my favorite things about her, how she's just like, as you know, we don't know. Where's the source?
Do it though, make sure that you like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you've not
Oh
already.
yeah, thank you for reminding me to dislike.
Ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. All right, so this is one of Jubilee's middle ground episodes, and I genuinely love when Jubilee does these because even though I think we all know the bias that they come from when they're producing these and editing these.
Disregard that, Frank. It's a bunch of liberal bullshit.
It seems like people genuinely.
The irony of that when they edited most of me out of the Jubilee thing. When I'm like a raging soy boy.
They have interesting conversations, you know, good discourse is had. They're usually laughing by the end of it, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so I do really like these videos, but this one is called Is Being Fat a Choice? Let's get into it.
Being fat or skinny is a choice.
Of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower. It's about the environment you grow up in, sure, but who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to.
Oh, we're starting off with an absolute banger today. This is great. Basically, everything he's saying is just personal responsibility. But the fact, I love this, that he brought in who you surround yourself with. That's so important. Like, even when you're just talking about your weight, because that goes back to your lifestyle choices, the way that you eat, what you do when you're socializing with friends. Are you going outside? Are you going on walks? Are you meeting up at the gym? Or are you staying inside, eating potato chips, playing video games for hours on end? All of those factors are considered. So good, dude. Good job, Dominic. I think that's his name.
Hey, I'm a streamer, okay? I take personal offense to that one. Damn.
All of those things are choices that you can make that will lead you closer towards being one or the other.
For me, it's calories in, calories out. Go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff. I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
And all of that goes back to, again, choices. And like he said, willpower and sacrifices. And yes, there are people that have certain conditions that make them more, you know, predisposed to being overweight or being very, very skinny. And I keep those people, you know, in completely separate categories because those are medical things. But these days, a lot of people say, oh, I can't lose weight. I know I'm predisposed. And you might not be. Like, you might just be making that up in your head. Like, everybody is self-diagnosing with everything these days, which is a whole other can of worms. But I put those people in a totally separate category from people who are making lifestyle choices and then want everybody else to adapt and change because of their lifestyle choices. Anywho.
I think the whole choice is, you know, always determined on who they are, and it's not going to just be a thing done overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
And again, that depends on who you are and what you want to go through.
Disagreeers?
I felt like as a toddler, I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so where my mom couldn't provide the meals that she could healthily. So when we would get free meals, even then it would be canned food, and it would be very much food that's not as edible. It was food for us, yes, but then I felt like once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't eating.
But here's the thing. you're still talking about choices. Like, everybody goes through things.
So this is like the typical conservative bullshit that they always do. The like, well, it was a personal choice, LOL. Okay, yeah, but they never bother to ask why. Why is someone making this choice? What motivates that choice? So right there, like, Brett Cooper's like, well, again, we're talking about choices, herder. Okay, yeah, of course, but like, it's deeper than that. What motivates that choice? Everybody's a result of their environment. So if you were raised in an environment in which your mother only provided you with unhealthy food or fattening food or whatever, then yeah, when you become an adult, you're not going to have a good understanding as to the healthier options of food. And so you might make the choice to buy the donuts instead of the salad, but that choice ultimately comes from your past, your history. And that's where the real nuanced conversation comes into play.
Things in their childhood and in their past that has the opportunity to define who they are. That can change you for the better or for the worse. But when you become an adult, when you become a teenager, honestly, you have the opportunity to change course, to learn from those experiences, whether they were choices that you were made or circumstances that were out of your control. Then it becomes your responsibility. We can't change the things that we went through as children. We can't change the mistakes of our parents. We can't change, the hand that we were dealt. But you can change how you respond to it.
I was in a sport, and that sport just...
I mean, yeah, but like, that's going to take time and energy. And so if someone's initially overweight because of their poor eating choices, stems from a place of ignorance because of their past or whatever, then just being like, well, now it's up to you to make a good choice. It's like, it's kind of just the bootstraps argument.
worked me out so hard. And it was to the point where I just was scared to eat. I didn't like it. I would only drink water.
When you were eating grapes and lettuce, were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
Were you still big though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever been. And that's coming from somebody who was only eating somewhat salads that are just fruit and lettuce.
I mean, if that's the case, then you might very well have like a thyroid problem or some kind of another issue contributing to weight gain, or at least the inability to lose weight.
And water and maybe ice right before a practice.
That diet isn't necessarily healthy either. And you can hold on to weight because of stress, because things that are going on mentally, because of your sleep, because you're not
True.
providing your body nutritious foods. A lot of women think that they just need to eat less to lose weight. You actually need to eat more. You need to eat a lot of protein, especially if you're moving, if she's playing an extreme sport. So again, choices, maybe misguided information about how to lose weight. But I also think that's important to point out.
Do you think that right now you would not be capable of becoming a thin woman if you wanted to?
I possibly would be capable of becoming a thin woman, but since I was young, I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very, very young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid. I never made the connection, and I never had like that leaning parent to be like, go and get checked out.
Exactly. When it comes to eating healthy, that's also easier said than done. A salad is more expensive than a cheeseburger at McDonald's. It just is. If you're busy, if you're running around, it's even harder to eat healthy. If you don't have a lot of money, it's even harder to eat healthy. Because you know what? The cheapest food is also the most unhealthy.
Go and do this. Like, your weight is probably not your fault. It was always like, your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
I mean, I also struggle with, thyroid and my own blood issues. I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist and I go see a doctor. It's a choice to do the requisite steps. It's a choice to go grocery shop.
Oh, this is getting testy already. Sometimes I watch these videos and I'm like, I feel the tension. And I'm not even in the room. But, I mean, those are really, really harsh truths. I was about to stop and say, with diet, there are ways that you can address thyroid issues. Like a low carb, high fat diet, like one of the things that's written a lot about keto diets, and people have, very varying thoughts about keto diets, but there's been a lot of research about, carnivore diets.
Even if there is a way to eat more healthy, that's fair. And it's not like there's just a free pass, I guess, for being unhealthy. But think of this with any other kind of unhealthy activity, any kind of even mental illness, if you think about it, right? Just focus, bro. Well, if you have ADHD, that is a lot harder to do. To be just lose weight, bro. Well, if you have a thyroid problem, and then being well, there are ways to still lose weight with diet, even if you have thyroid issues. okay, maybe, but like you then have to acknowledge that it's going to be way harder for this person compared to most people. So you holding that person to the same standard that you would hold the average person is actually really unfair.
The Lion diet that, the Petersons do and keto diets about how it can help your thyroid. It can completely change your life. People who were never able to lose weight are now losing weight. They're healthier than ever. She is right. It does come down to choices.
It's a choice when you're
Right. And again, if you're choosing between the $2 Big Mac, well, Big Macs aren't $2. If they were, then I might be fat. But if you need to choose between the couple of dollars burger or the more expensive, healthier option, if you're already low on money, sometimes you got to do what you got to do if you're really hungry, man.
Grocery shopping to go to the outer aisles and like not go into the bread section and not go into the junk food section. These are all choices.
As a disabled woman, I
don't go into the bread section. What if you need bread? Don't go into the junk food section. Isn't the junk food usually combined with another aisle with other stuff?
can't do a lot of the things that people say, calories in, calories out, oh, you got to go work out and exert it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication, because...
And for her, I do put her in that other category that I was talking about. And so I'm glad that she's here so she can offer that. But if we're talking about the body positivity movement and how we have, changed our perception of obesity and, what is a healthy weight, what is healthy, if we're talking about all of that, she's in a totally, totally different conversation because obviously there are people who struggle with their weight because of medication, because...
I wonder what Brett would say to the explanation that I like to give about body positivity, because I understand that a lot of people have this concept of body positivity that it's like being fat is a good thing, even if it's genuinely unhealthy. Being overweight is obviously unhealthy. Of course it's unhealthy and bad for you to be overweight. But body positivity really comes down to encouraging you to love yourself and respect your own body enough so to encourage you to change. Because what people fail to realize is that if you're depressed, if you feel like shit, if you've been told that you're a fat, ugly piece of shit for a long, long time, that's not going to motivate you to go and exercise. More times than not, that's going to discourage you. Body positivity focuses more on just accepting and loving yourself and recognizing that this is the only body you have, so you need to treat it with respect. This is the only body you have. You need to love yourself for more than just how your body looks. And it's those kinds of beliefs, that kind of a mindset that actually encourages genuine change.
Of, illnesses that they're going through because of, disabilities. Oh, like I completely understand that. So I'm glad that she's here to share her opinion, but I would just make sure that everybody knows that's kind of a separate but important conversation. And another part of that conversation is also, are doctors lying to you about needing that medication? Is there something you can do with your diet that is not completely reliant on the big medical industrial complex and big pharma that can help change your life? Because that is often not presented.
Yeah, is your doctor just lying? Hey, you have a really high you have a thyroid issue. Here's medicine that can help. Maybe your doctor's lying. So you're going to shit on the fat person. You're going to say that, well, you're fat, you have your own choices, blah, 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 blah. And then when it comes to them making a choice as to whether or not they should take this medicine, you're saying, well, maybe the doctor's lying because they need to support big pharma or whatever, some stupid gibberish. God.
Presented to us. Sadly, but that's just the U.S. government.
Doctors put me in this position, and I had to learn, okay, am I going to be so hateful of my own body that I am going to backlash and put myself through extreme gym nights, through keeping myself from eating things that I should be able to eat? You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people do and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
But I don't think skinny people go into this junk food aisle.
They
I think
certainly do.
They do.
They eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Everybody has balance. I think that's the point I would really disagree with her on, because
skinny people don't go in the junk food aisle. I'm pretty skinny. I exclusively shop in the junk food aisle. What?
Like even the healthiest people that I know, the skinniest people I know, They still have a brownie because there is balance. So it's not just that skinny people are avoiding junk food at all costs. It's just that they know their limit. They know that balance does exist. And for the most part, they're making very healthy choices.
There's a thing called set points. There's a ton of research on it, that your body likes to be at specific weights. It likes to be in a specific way. So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
It's important to note that a choice can be harder for people to make due to conditions in their life, but at the end of the day, it's still a choice. I could say that I had food addiction. I looked to food when I was stressed and this and that and this, and so it's harder for me to choose it than for someone who has like the perfect lifestyle, someone who has parents who are giving them this and that and this. But I definitely still acknowledge that it was my choice. At the end of the day,
Yeah, but just if it was still your choice, the conversation doesn't end there. That's so boring. Just, well, it was still ultimately my choice, herder. Okay, but like, you're acknowledging it, you're saying it, you're recognizing the fact that there are some people with mental illness specifically that contributes to them turning to food as a coping mechanism, more or less. And this can result in them gaining weight. There's more to it than just, well, it was still my choice, herder. If you're really depressed, I mean, it's still ultimately your choice to lay in bed all day and never get up and do anything, right? Okay, I guess, but like, is that really where you want the conversation to end? Just, it's your choice, that's it? There has to be more to it. Why is that the choice? Why is it so hard to make that choice?
Go there and I look and I see, should I order a second hamburger? I'm the one choosing whether or not I order that.
This guy is so based. This is the most excellent display of personal responsibility I've ever seen. In a world that is so devoid of personal responsibility, that's very epic. This is a very interesting conversation.
Be skinny than fat. Can the agreeers please step forward?
I think there's a lot of different struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger. And I have a sister that is she's 400 pounds and she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I'm also really tall. I'm 6'6", so I kind of wish I could just pick a single struggle because finding clothes and things like that when you're bigger both ways can make it really hard. So if I was skinnier, at least that's one less thing I have to worry about. But also, I've got 2 kids.
What do you think? Would you rather be skinny or fat, guys? I mean, if it's talking about unhealthy degree, probably skinny, just because it's easier to eat a lot than it is to refrain from food.
And a wife, and I'm taking care of them. And as you pointed out, I definitely think that I'm at less health risks if I'm a skinnier person, if I'm a healthier person in that capacity.
Again, this guy's fantastic. He's acknowledging all of it. I wish him the best. If he's on some journey, if he's on his weight loss journey, if he's getting his fit on, Dominic, I'm supporting you. And also, like, that's a real man to say, like, I want to change my life for the betterment of my children and my wife so that I can be a better provider.
Yeah, I actually kind of disagree with that too. I disagree with the notion that it's a real man to want to change yourself for the better for someone else. I think that you should ultimately change from within for yourself, and that's going to make you a better dad and make you a better provider, but you should change for you.
That's great.
And I would much rather be that so that I could be around for my kids longer.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I'm speaking as someone who actually was a former smaller person, and I had the most body insecurities when I was small. I was constantly living in fear of gaining weight and having people tell me, oh, don't gain weight, don't do this, make sure that your weight is the same. And once I finally gained weight, I realized that, first off, life wasn't over. I didn't feel any need to not engage in life the previous way that I had, and the attention that I got was different. But even as a smaller person, you get negative attention. And rather than trying to control my body to avoid that negative attention, I would prefer to address the situation as a society, make it more accessible for everybody.
There's the main point. I mean, I think, first of all, if we think back to the early 2000s, the way that women were talked to about our weights, like that obviously was not healthy. There has to be balance. The fact that we cannot find a balance to strike.
Respect to Brett Cooper for at least acknowledging that much.
Is terrible because now we've gone in the completely opposite direction. But being 95 pounds and trying to look like every runway model in Paris Fashion Week, that's also not healthy. And like telling women that they need to have like thigh gaps. I remember being in middle school, early high school, and girls would literally like saran wrap their thighs. Like that, no, that is not healthy. And everybody, especially young women, we have insecurities. That's very, very normal. But I think the difference is now the movement that is predominant is the body positivity movement that is telling women that it is better to be fat, that it is healthier to be overweight, that if you go to the gym and if you try to lose weight, then you are either like some alt-right extremist or you are fat phobic. Those are literally the messages.
Okay, and this is where we're going to leave her in the dust. Are you kidding me? Even if you want to say that the body positivity movement nowadays can sometimes glorify obesity or glorify people that are obese or whatever, fine. But to take it to that extreme, if you want to lose weight, you're a neo-Nazi fascist or whatever the are you kidding me? This is why it's impossible to take Brett Cooper seriously for very long. Like, I just got done saying that I respect the fact that she acknowledged that one thing, and then she goes on this ramble. God, Brett. So basically, it's all just personal responsibility. Ignore the external factors, even though personal responsibility is important. The external factors are as well. Then again, the conservative arguments when it comes to the issue of people being overweight, just like the issue of systemic racism, they always go the personal responsibility route because it's the lazy option. Republicans in power don't need to worry about anything that they need to do to fix this because, well, it's personal responsibility. It's up to the individual to fix it.